Women have had many different stereotypes throughout the centuries. Some of the most typical ones are that women are not strong enough, are weak, are not meant to speak out, and are not meant to be in charge. But the most popular stereotype that women have is that they are meant to raise their children and become stay-at-home mothers. These stereotypes show us the importance and significance of what impacted and/or caused women's growth in leadership roles in business and in the workforce, what new opportunities they were introduced to due to the growth, and what hardships and obstacles they had to overcome in order to accomplish their leadership goals. Women had many reasons to strive for leadership roles in business and in the workforce. One of the reasons being is that women were very unhappy with the roles they had in life. An article published on Savannah.org's website states that in 1960, women were expected to marry in their early 20s, start a family, and devote their life to homemaking. Back then, men had complete control over their women and their property and their earnings, while the woman had no legal right and no control over the husband's earnings and or properties. Also, back then in 1960, divorce was very hard to obtain. Married couples had to have a legitimate reason in order to get divorced. They couldn't just get divorced because they were unhappy. They had to have a very real and legitimate reason. Another reason to strive for leadership roles was that women who did work in the 1960s had very small range of job options. These jobs were very stereotypical jobs that you expect a woman to have. For example, a secretary, a nurse, and a teacher, or a teacher. Even though they did have these jobs, they were still paid less than men, even though they still had the same position in the same company. Another reason to strive for leadership roles was because women became tired of sticking to only one path of life and being told what to do. Women started to feel useless, unfulfilled, and trapped. They soon realized that they are educated young ladies who had a lot more potential than they were showing, and they soon organized feminist movements, and feminist movements were determined to gain leadership roles in the workplace while also making it equal and shooting for equality. Anti-discrimination laws also helped with this because they made sure that everyone, despite their gender, had equal access to equal paying rights and jobs and access to better jobs. Now that I have talked about the importance and significance of what caused and impacted the growth in leadership roles in business and in the workforce, I will now be discussing the new opportunities women were introduced to due to the growth. Women were introduced to never before experienced opportunities in the workforce. One being that many laws were passed due to the National Organization for Women, which helped fight for gender discrimination in courts and legislature. And once they passed a lot of laws stating that women could work and they could vote and everything like that, women started applying for higher paying jobs and started enrolling in higher education to get better jobs. An article published on womenworklife.com stated that women who were pregnant could not continue working, so the percentage of women working and that were pregnant or had children at home increased, which showed that women could work and raise their children at the same time while also providing more money into the household. Another opportunity was that women were now able to have jobs only male gender could have. For example, women could now be accountants, police officers, surgeons, lawyers, judges, physicians also. In the mid-1970s, women finally had the right to become and be in the workforce in politics, business, law, and science. An article on HuffingtonPost.com stated that women started dominating certain workforces and professions such as caregiving, fields like social works and nursing and midwifery, etc. like that. Another opportunity they were granted was that women were successful in the workforce, they even started their own business. An article on amhistory.si.edu stated that women like Freda Diamond, Brownie Wise, Estelle Ellis, and Miss Shaver were 4 out of 1,000 women who took advantage of the new opportunities and started applying for jobs and building their own businesses. Now that I have talked about the opportunities women were introduced to due to the growth, I will now talk about the hardships and obstacles women had to overcome to accomplish their dreams, pretty much. Women in feminist movements had to overcome many hardships, one being socially determined gender roles. It limited them to a certain amount of jobs and didn't let them grow as professionals. Another hardship was balancing raising their children. Women had many difficulty raising their children and also making sure their business was successful while also bringing enough money to the house to support them and their family. Another hardship was that over a third of the nation's women had not received their high school diploma. Even now today, receiving a high school diploma is a big deal. It opens you to a lot more job options, and back then, if you went on to post-secondary education, you would get a higher amount of job options, which paid better. Today, I first discuss what impacted and or caused women's growth in leadership roles in business and in the workforce. Second, I discuss the opportunities women were introduced to due to the growth. And finally, I discuss the obstacles and hardships women had to overcome to accomplish their leadership goals. Thanks to the feminist movements and the National Organization of Women, who knows if today women would have the right to vote or to work or to get paid equally as men. Legally and in the government's eyes, women are equal as men, but socially and out in society, women are still not as equal as men, and we still have a long way to go, and I just hope we get to be equal as men. Thank you.